but it's for everybody.
Thank you, Sister Barbara. Take notes. Yes. Sister Barbara, and notes. Take any notes.
So you understand it. A day will come when you will look for water, and possibly water is not around. You translate it to liquid. Please give me some liquid. A day will come when the gown is no longer available. And what you switch onto is the wrapper. The African wrapper, look at the beauty of it. Look at what we transform it to. Anything. As a matter of fact, if you look at the motifs there, it tells of everything African culture, tells of everything African fertility, tells of everything African productivity. There is nothing you will look for on the motifs. I'm talking about the fabrics now. The fabrics, by fabric I mean the dresses, the wears. By fabric I also mean the tactile quality of this artwork, that is texture, right? There is nothing that is not captured here. That is why the visual artist can capture what the literary artist will write in 400 pages in just a flat face. All right? People like Chinua Achebe, I will always quote him. There is a way to capture what is before you in your own language and in your own image without necessarily diluting the content of what you're analyzing. And that is why if you say merci to the Englishman and you say merci to the Frenchman, they sound alike, but do they mean the same?
No.
Are the spellings the same?
No.
So there comes a time when we will need to come home to break things, break every seed into crucibles as much as possible to say this is where I am coming from. The Godhead, the person of God, is in a vital circle. And all the races and nations of the world are coming from different aspects, different corners of this circumference to meet in that middle. And if I'm coming from here, Africa, and the other man is coming from there, Oceania, the other man is coming from there, America, our meeting point is in the middle. Is that not so? By the way, Father, I heard you say something about enculturation here today. Yeah, it got in. You talk about acculturation and enculturation. When two different cultures meet, obviously there's going to be acculturation, a dissolution of one culture into another culture. There comes a time when you say, no, gentlemen, you have brought so much to the table. Wait, let me bring mine. This table is beginning to get too full of your own property. Let me get mine. Let them dissolve. Acculturation will happen. It comes to a time when an African produces an artwork, he names it Nanyi Diaso on purpose. He doesn't want to speak English, he doesn't want to speak French. He's naming it in Igbo language to provoke you to ask what is the meaning of that thing you said. And then in trying to answer that question, you begin to lecture him about the Igbo people. Ladies and gentlemen, do you still believe that the Landa brothers discovered River Niger? How can you discover what has been with us? What we have among us? Did it ever get lost? So where is the principle of discovery coming from? Come on, these things have been with us. There's the history of Vasco da Gama, who claimed to have discovered the current India in his journey. Sorry, I'm not keeping you standing. You know, but the places they say they discovered have been in existence. If you tell me you discovered something, a gadget, an equipment, or a material for use, for the good of mankind, I will say yes. But for you to discover me, or my grandfather, that's been existing possibly before your own grandfather was born, I will say, no, you didn't discover my grandfather. You didn't discover my place. We've been in existence. You simply located it. You didn't discover it. So it's time for us to start correcting some of these things. We'll call it extreme Eurocentrism. Eurocentric mentality makes you believe that everything you are bringing to the table is inferior, and the one they are bringing is superior. That was the first weapon and the first error of Britain and even the Portuguese. Work on their minds, deflate them, puncture their ego, deflate their integrity, and make them believe that they are inferior and you're superior. Any day you accept inferiority, that is the beginning of your downfall. All right? So here is our blessed Virgin Mary in the image, and the baby Jesus also in the image of the blacks. And when we say black, we are referring to the downside Africa. When I say downtown Africa, It is unethical for you to even say that the entire Africa is black. It is even wrong to define Africa as a black country, a black nation, or black race. No. There is Morocco, there is Tunisia, there is Algeria, there is Egypt, and these are the white North African countries. Are they not Africans? So why do we constantly attach negativity to black? I beg to close by saying this because I didn't intend to take a lot of time here. What is the name of that prison transport vehicle that is used to transport prisoners from prison to the court? Black what? Okay. The woman called Maria Lee was in Boston, US. She was so feared by criminals because Maria Lee was in the habit of arresting criminals herself. She was so good at it, she ran a private boarding home to the extent that she was helping the white men to catch criminals, a woman. There was a day she arrested 3 criminals alone, single-handedly, and put them in her private cell. That is another version of Maria over there, as early as then. And so when they started developing, first of all, the wagon that they used to carry prisoners, the horse-driven wagon, they named it Black Maria because Maria Lee was also called Black Maria. For the first time, the white man was getting to understand that there's something about discipline and morality coming from a black woman. And so that's how all those vehicles used to transport criminals to prison in order to restore justice and order are named after that woman. And I'm so happy each time I read the history that this version of Maria, in fact, tell me any version of Maria that is not good. There's hardly any. There's hardly any. So if the white men will be appreciating our blackness, Simon the Cyrene that I mentioned, Simon the Niger, sorry, Niger means black. If they'll be appreciating black, it is up to us at this point to begin to raise our volumes, increase the circumferences of our black contents in every form of analysis. That's what we call pushing the borders. If you have a little circumference around you, remember the song you used to sing as a child? Make a circle, a big circle, make a circle. Is that not so? Have you ever seen anybody say make a circle, a small circle? You need to increase your circle. How do you increase the circle? Get more people to fill in the gaps. The more the number of persons, the bigger the circle. The bigger the circle, the wider the circumference. It's as simple as that. We need to get more people to queue into this black necessity. Thank you very much. Time is not on my side. Maybe sometime we'll talk again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you for that.